Joining me now is writer and broadcaster Esther Krakue. Esther, Harry's phone hacking case was back in court this week and he received a rap across the knuckles from the judge. Why is that?
So the presiding judge over this case, Justice Fancourt, has found it bizarre that a lot of the messages and communications that the Duke of Sussex has had with his ghostwriter for when he was publishing his autobiography Spare has been deleted and completely wiped off the face of the earth, it would seem. And the judge finds this curious because there were obviously, he alleges, many text messages that were relevant to the phone hacking case, which he's suing the news group for, the news group which are the publishers of The Sun and now the defunct News of the World. Now, the judge is asking the Duke's team to trace those messages from between, I believe, 2020 to 2023, when the case was well underway, as well as going back to find relevant messages with the royal household or communication with the Duke between 2005 and 2023. So the judge is questioning why the Duke has said that the messages have been deleted. He says that he used the app Signal, which is similar to WhatsApp, but apparently is known for being a bit more secure. And he's saying that he used that as his main communication method with the ghostwriter that wrote his autobiography, and said that the messages were deleted as per the app's protocol. But the judge is not having any of this. He's saying that, you know, he needs to have all the communication with the ghostwriter for his autobiography, because he alleges that they would be very relevant to the case. The Duke's team is arguing that he has nothing to hide and that all the relevant sort of information and communication that he's had about the phone hacking case has been put forward, but the judge actually doesn't think that is true.
Discovery of documents is incredibly important in these sorts of cases, and no wonder the judge has had a bit to say. But it's been a year, Esther, since Harry changed his country of residence to the USA. How do you reflect on that year?
So the Frogmore Cottage, which Harry and Meghan stayed at when they were in the official residence when they were in the UK, still remains empty. We know that the king is trying to get his brother, Prince Andrew, to move into Frogmore Cottage, which is a lot smaller and has sort of lower maintenance costs as opposed to his current residence, which is massive. But there's something symbolic about the fact that that house remains empty. You know, people are saying this is a representative of everything that could have been with Harry and Meghan and how they could have contributed to the royal family. But there's also, you know, questions about whether actually it was ever meant to be. So people are saying, well, there's some speculation that the royal household could have done more to keep Harry and Meghan on side and to have prevented the kind of acrimonious split that happened in 2020. But, you know, in the time since, especially with the publication of Spare and their Oprah interview, there's greater speculation that actually there's not that much that could have been done. They were very adamant that it was, you know, their way or the highway. And the fact that they've gone ahead, particularly with the publication of Spare, to divulge all this, what we would assume is personal and private information of members of the royal family, would suggest that actually there were always a sort of a security and privacy risk, and that actually having them in the fold could have risked more than having them outside of it and kind of them releasing their own version of the story as they see fit, in the way that they currently have. So it's very interesting that the Prince Harry chose to date his official residency in the US of the date he was kicked out of Frogmore Cottage. I think he was trying to send a message, and it was very symbolic. But I think the bigger message here is the fact that it represents everything that could have been and is not and has been lost, and potentially represents what actually should probably have never been.
And the consequence of that, there's a report out this week that Prince William has banned the Sussexes from future royal events. Is there any truth to that claim?
So there is a lot of speculation that Prince William has taken on the role of his grandfather in deciding who comes and doesn't come to royal events. I mean, we know that Prince Philip was famous for not inviting his daughter-in-law, Sarah Ferguson, to many royal events, particularly Christmas at Sandringham, because he didn't have a particularly good relationship. I think what this would indicate, though, is that Prince William is taking a more leading role in the direction of the royal family. We don't know how long his father has left with us. We know that he's not going to certainly serve as long as his mother did, and so he's trying to spearhead the direction of the royal family, and that will certainly mean that the sort of split betbetween the Sussexes and the royal family would calcify and just probably remain permanent under Prince William, because he is first and foremost concerned about the privacy threat, having the Sussexes anywhere near the royal family and the kind of information that they could divulge to the media. I think this goes far beyond, you know, Prince William's feelings being hurt by the kinds of things that were revealed about him and his wife in Spare. It's it's more about what damage could they do if they're reintroduced back into the fold. And we know that's kind of a divergence from the king, who's a lot more sympathetic with the Sussexes, who we hear reports is more open to the idea that Meghan may have felt mistreated while she was in the royal family, who wants to spend more time with his grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, who are in Montecito, and that he only communicates via FaceTime. So we can see a clear split between sort of how the king would like to reintroduce the Sussexes into the fold and how Prince William is putting the privacy and the security of the royal family and the institution above the relationship with the Sussexes.
Now, Esther, just before we go, the next major event in the royal calendar is Wimbledon. What's in store for this year?
So the organisers of Wimbledon are making provisions for the possibility that Princess Catherine will not be able to attend, because we know that she's still undergoing chemo treatment. She always hands out the awards at Wimbledon, but this year, of course, she has been missing in action because of her treatment, her cancer treatment that she's undergoing. She did make a surprise appearance at Trooping of the Colour, but we don't know the advice of her medical team with regards to Wimbledon. So they are making provisions for someone else to hand out awards and trophies at Wimbledon this year.
Esther Krakue, as always, thank you so much for joining us.